Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Tuck Notes. Yes, Tuck Notes. And this is part 4 in the Wyckoff 101, part 4 distribution. And so I'm going to dive into what it is, what is distribution, how is it different than accumulation, and what are the signs to be on the looks now for, things like that. So throughout this time, you guys will see the reading and the graphs. I figured out a way with my horrible editing system that I have, which is nothing, to make it work for us. Okay. So same title, just or same, not title, but same outline, just a different title. And I just took an advantage of reading it beforehand so I can kind of just give you the bigger, more important parts. So first off, what is distribution? Okay, so distribution is a very specific process. Put it simple, it's a process of distributing selling of an asset at a desired best price over a period of time. This is the direct opposite of accumulation, where the market participants are looking to secure an asset or a hold at the lowest possible price you can get it at. Typically, we see periods of distribution after uptrends. The composite operator, you know who that is, begins the lengthy process of distributing the shares that he collected at a really low point on the graph. We'll use that as an example. I'll talk about this later. And leaving everyone else to buy it up here when all the institutions knew that was going to happen, so they bought it down there. And then they sell it up here to cover their asses, and then they do the same thing. Real talk. Where am I? Typically should, okay, so this begins with the stopping of the action of the buying climax. We went into some vocab words yesterday in the previous article. Today there's more vocab words, and they will relate. I highly recommend printing out something relative to this article because it will describe, remember this good old thing that I've posted like 5 million times already by now? Well, now we know this is what, there's words for these things, these abbreviations, and they all mean something, and every single thing's connected. So we're going to learn what they mean and why are they connected. So most traders find it easy to trade in a market that's steadily rising. Bears, which are the sleepy guys, bears trend and markets tend to be very punishing, and short selling is something that doesn't come naturally to a lot of people right here. In that regard, distribution can be seen as more of a difficult process to master and act upon. That's why we see some of these guys in distributive phase, where they'll, like, this is it, distributive, and it's going, and they're what is it called? The short selling the stock in that phase. Those are what the pros can do. I do not recommend doing it. One objective of the Wyckoff. Oh, I didn't read the rest of it. Did I? Oh, yeah. No, yeah, I didn't. That regard, distribution can be seen as a more difficult process. Oh, no, I did read that. One objective of Wyckoff method is to improve market timing when establishing position and anticipating of a coming move where favorable risk-reward ratio exists. We like those. Trading ranges, TRs, are places where previous trends, up or down, has been halted, stopped, and there is no relative equilibrium between supply and demand. That's your first indicator, this last sentence. So I recommend, this is an important sentence because this is what tells you the first indication. Institutions, and large professional interests prepare for their next bull or bear campaign as they accumulate or distribute shares within their TR. TR is right here. TR. So, because look how much room there is. That's a lot of just jump versus here or there or there or there or there. You got a lot more room right there. Where did I finish? Yeah, so here, I'm sorry. As with accumulation or any Wyckoffian range, how you like to trade depends on your personal style. If you're a swing trader, you may want to play the move between the labels. If you're a scalper, you have your boundaries or your limit buys and limit sells established and can play within between there. So let's clarify a couple points that are often lost when people discuss distribution as a process. This is so important. Distribution happens when an equilibrium phase is reached in price after an uptrend where price stalls and begins to form a range. Distribution occurs with greater accuracy and credibility on charts over 12 hours of a length of a period. That's really important because you can get sucked up in a 1 hour chart and that's like nothing compared to what the bigger picture is. However, there are instances where volatile markets can show signs of distribution on much lower time frames. Like now, that's driving me crazy. Volume is a key indicator to distribution and accumulation. If you ever show me a Wyckoffian chart without volume, you're doing it wrong. I think they said that on the previous one. So I think he's serious about that. So I listened to him. Lol. After an uptrend, we look for signs of distribution or reaccumulation. Distribution has a specific set of criteria that must be matched in order to add credibility to the range. So this is the distributive schematic number 1, Wyckoff events and phases. And this shows you can use this and go here's that one weird picture. This is it right here of the guy's head, shoulders, and there's like his hand going out or something before it goes up to the higher price. So whenever you kind of see something like that, you can kind of sometimes expect, I don't know, I'm not a pro, but you could maybe expect that if you see that or this happening, this circle face thing, you might get a higher price, but you better get out before it's too late and it goes back down. And this timeline can be a year, a month, a week, a day, who knows. So after distribution, did I read everything? I think I read everything on this side. The next page, sorry. So here's another picture, schematic phase number 2 of distribution. And so there are many common distribution schematics and offer great visual cues to analyzing any potential ranges. Schematics are not meant as exact replicas to the way that the range will play out. Schematics are used to give a loose structure that and then it's up to you to be a chartist to interpret and analyze what the is going on. As you may be new to Wyckoff, I've copied the labels and their relevant information for you underneath. So here's the vocab words, okay? PSY, that's not psychiatrist, or I'm psycho. It's PSY right there. It's just a point. Preliminary support or supply. What is that? Where large interests began to unload shares in their quantity after a pronounced up move. Not me. I don't take, yeah. Volume expands and price spread widens, signaling a change in the trend may be approaching. BC, before Christ. No, it's not. Buying climax, and that's not the other climax. During which there are often marked increases in volume and spread price. The force of buying reaches a climax with heavy or near a top. A BC often coincides with great earnings report, which happened today, I think, with Tesla. I'm not sure. I gotta double check. And other good news. That's so vague. Since large operators require huge demand from the public to sell their shares without depressing the stock price, that's a difficult task to do. For sure. I know, we're not that. We're almost done. Accumulated reaction, AR. And this all goes back to this picture, AR. There's your AR right there, accumulated reaction. You gotta pay attention to this stuff if you don't want to lose your money. With intense buying substantially diminishing, or with intense buying substantially diminished after the BC and a heavy supply containing an AR takes place. The low of this sell-off helps define the low boundary of the distribution of the TR. ST, secondary test, in which the price revisits the area of the BC to test the demand and supply balance at these price levels. So for a top to be confirmed, supply must outweigh demand. For a top to be confirmed, supply must outweigh demand. Volume and spread should thus decrease as the price approaches a resistance area of ABC. So if it's going up and up, but the volume's not going up with it, that means that that's the composite operator trying to suck you into trying to buy that price. And you got to be vigilant. Go back, do this. Go back 1 year, go back 3 months. Like, look at all the patterns. There's so many things to look at, right? Next one. So, signs of weakness. Observable as a downward movement or slightly past the lower boundary of the TR, usually occurring on increased spread and price action of a stock. Supply now is dominant. That's key. PSY, LPSY, UT. Oh, there's no T, TAB, but there's the SO. Is the last point of supply. After testing the support on the SO, A feebly rally on a narrow spread shows the markets having considerable difficulty advancing or moving up or down, what way you want to go. This inability to rally may be due to weak demand, substantial supply, or both. LPSY represents exhaustion of the demand and the last waves of the large operator's distribution before the markdown begins in earnest. The UTAD, the upthrust after distribution, it sounds like a snowboarding maneuver or something, has the distributional counterpart to the spring and the terminal shakeout in the accumulation TR. I know this is all confusing stuff, but believe me, if you just do it over and over and over, it does start to get a little easier. So what happens is shakes out in accumulation, the TR. It occurs in the later stages of the TR and provides a definitive test of new shakeouts. A UTAD is not required structural element. The TR in distribution schematic number 1 contains a UTAD, while the TR in distribution schematic number 2 does not. That's how you can tell the difference between this schematic is a picture. So you can, between this scheme or that scheme. ICE. This is another concept that isn't covered in all distributive schematics, but except this one because I'm just such a great researcher. Just kidding. But I feel like it's worth covering. Accumulation has a creek. When the price creek crosses this creek, it's considering to be jumping across the creek. Jack. The creek is a rough line drawn down the highs of the range that we can expect to see. Broken on high volume to add credibility. Within distribution, we have a similar concept called ice. Imagine this is a frozen lake. Each footstep you take on ice becomes a little weaker. A rough line is drawn across the lows of the range instead for distribution. Each time the price is touched, it weakens, and sooner or later the ice will break, and the price you break and you on the lake. Let me see that again. Basically, you're going to fall in the water. You will fall, though. It says that. So, haha. Regardless of schematics, though, working perfectly like they almost never do, like a diagram, these are the signs of distribution I look for. Not me, but the person that wrote this. These are the key areas to be aware of, so pay attention. Please. Volume, it does not rise on supply. There is a response to the attempts to push the price. Is there a response to the attempts to push up the price back up? If it's not, then got maybe a good thing or a bad thing going on. Is there a clear buying climax to begin your trading range? Look for candlesticks with long wick. This is helpful. Wicks to indicate counter pressure, or blow off top candlesticks. Those are the ones with the little wicks that create an obvious indifference from the previous uptrend. Is there an automatic reaction to that? Does the price return back down on the high supply? Have there been any springs, movements towards B, C, or TR? if there was, how did they respond to it? This should be conducted on a minimum of a 12-hour chart. So do not go to live for your information, and do not go to 1 day. You're not going to get anything from that. All right. So go back to a week and then figure out something, or I don't know. But that's important. An example. Here's an example. This is a good one that'll bring it home. I marked up this distributive range using daily TFs so that you can see the labels on the examples. Notice how that doesn't mirror the schematics, but it gives you a good enough structure to work with. There are several key points here that would be helpful for you to determine the intention of the market. The buying climax, or the BC, right here, into automatic reaction, into AR, so it just goes down. A nice trading range to work within also, here and here, like that. Usually I something try a place to trade within. I don't know where I stopped. So anyways, I don't know where I left off, but it's a nice play to trade. Yeah, several points there would help you intentional market. Blank on there, I said that. One of the elements is we can change. Okay, so yeah. The buying the climax BC into the automatic reaction AR forms a nice trading range within. A SO, or I forgot what it stood for, forms with the movement back inside the TR. Okay? Back in the movement of the TR. One of the elements I would have highlighted at this point as we continue to determine if we're looking for reaccumulation versus distribution is the lack of demand of volume. Volume word, once again, is to move. Volume is just keeps hearing it. To move the price back up and out of the TR. This would be an area of concern for me if there was a pause in the uptrend and an opportunity to reload. I'd expect buyers to take advantage of this area. Price steadily advances away from the trading range and forms a UTAD, usually one after another. Another alarm trigger at this point, with some of the largest volume coming in the form of supply at these levels, as mentioned at the beginning of the article. Trading with the Wyckoff depends on your approach. You may have enjoyed a very profitable long position from the SO, or a break off of the TR doing the swing trades, or you may want to wait to confirm over a multi-year distribution cycle like McDonald's to take a huge long position and maybe not even make it. Those aren't the words in there, I'm just adding them. All the confirmations you need to know for any trading style comes with a breakdown from the UTAD into a TR again on the highest volume seen. That's the way they get you. This is the dam breaking, and it went violently once it cracks open. One single LPS was all enough to sink the ship and send it down. That's this part right here, sinking it down. Okay. Wyckoff schematics, we're almost done, take a wide variety of forms. It's worth brushing up on, as we saw with Bitcoin. others play out schematic distribution schematics. You can find a whole range to study these to refer to. I still do this regularly. I don't, but I will now. As most Wyckoffians, as you begin to understand labeling and volume makeup, you'll start to memorize some of these patterns, but I highly doubt everyone has them stored. Me too. Common misconceptions. There are a lot of misconceptions around distribution, but not quite as many as accumulation. I imagine this is because people are naturally more bullish than bearish. The major misconception usually occurs with assumption that an asset has been in a strong uptrend and will automatically enter a new distributive at its top, which doesn't happen all the time. A little like accumulation when a coin at the bottom, first instinct should be to look for a Wyckoffian concept that supports the continuation of the trend. You should be looking for, first and foremost, the signs of reaccumulation with a check on distribution. This is one of the primary reasons I enjoy charting with Wyckoff so much. It allows me to follow the trends and chart accordingly, but at the same time it forces me to check my biases and prepare for an option that may cause the end of the trend short, or medium, or long. In summary, the structure of this article has been very similar to accumulation, the one we just made. And in part 5, if I can find it on the internet, we'll move into and look through some of the more advanced processes. This is probably definitely important of reaccumulation and distribution, because we'll probably see that in the next coming weeks. These are certainly more than a nuisance than having fun, based on the ranges that we will be required to understand of the labeling. Sounds like a much smaller range, but it's doable. And our last page, ladies and gentlemen, is this: expectations within each phase. So this was distribution. I want you, if you're still watching this video, that I know there are like one or two people that do watch this video, or they wait till the end. They know there's something good, because there is. Homework assignment: get used to knowing these, what they are, what they do. I have to do it too, and that there's two different. There's part 1, and there's a part 2 version, and they're different, but they're also kind of the same. They still use the same vocab words, but this vocab printout, hopefully you can just take photos off of the video, is important. And this is, I didn't get a chance to go off of this, but this is the volume. Look, high volume right in the so, the beginning, and then none. Slowly works its way up. But look, it's jamming right now at the last crack right before it goes. I think it goes really hard right now because everyone knows it's all the way down here. Look at that thing. It was all the way up here, or up there. This happens really fast. That can happen in a day or two. So it's, great that it's New Year's and we've gone up $400 for Bitcoin, and Ethereum has gone up almost $50. It is great. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm glad to stand up now. And I have a feeling that, it's 4th of July. Every holiday, the composite operator gives us money, free money, but it's your job and my job to get the money and go and know when to withdraw it out of here. So I have a feeling with seeing this nice little that we're going to have a cool 4th of July. But on Sunday, get your money, cash out, and get out, because it will go down hard. That's my advice. but take it as you want. I love you guys again for all of your support and help. It really is it means a lot. You know that. So I appreciate it. Okay. Love you guys. Later.